You are listening to the Yoga for Balance podcast. I'm your host, Heather Gjerde. Thank you so much for listening. In this week's episode, I thought it would be helpful just to take a step back and look at yoga principles, the essence of yoga, some of these things that are coming up in conversation. What do they mean? What is the basis for it? So that is my goal with some of these individual episodes, just to dive in a little bit and talk about them. I'd like to just begin with a few deep breaths so we can all get a little more grounded and peaceful before we go into our topic. If you can, if you're somewhere comfortable, you can close your eyes. If you're driving, please don't. And just take a big, full, deep breath in. And an open mouth sigh, let it out. Take two more like that, even a deeper breath yet. Sigh, let it out. One more. Wherever you are, I hope you feel a little more relaxed, a little more at peace already. And it's wonderful speaking with you. I really am beyond grateful for this show, for the amazing speakers that I've been able to have on so far. These are healers that have touched my life, people who I have practiced with, that I've learned from, that I found healing through. So I really hope that you are enjoying all of the great information that they're sharing, that maybe you're trying some of the tips. I'd love you to head over to the Yoga for Balance podcast on Instagram and leave comments on your favorite episodes. Let me know what you're loving. If you're trying their tips at home, I'm sure they'd love to hear that they're helping you as well. So would love for the participation to go across, from your headphones or your car stereo over to Instagram, Facebook. You can find us at Vintantra, Vintantra, across the web, as well as the Yoga for Balance podcast there. So in this week's episode, I wanted to just take a step back and look at yoga and the essence of it from my perspective, from my background, because that's what I can speak from, of course. So maybe like me, when you first discover yoga, you thought, okay, it's this movement, it's this sequence, and we're moving the body. At the end, I feel really good. And that's kind of your understanding, what comes out of the asana within the Yoga Sutras. So many people think that that's what yoga is, these poses they're seeing, the one class that they took, which could be a variety of things. It could be an Ashtanga class, it could be a Vinyasa, breath to movement class. It could be a slow restorative or a yin. So there's this just wide understanding of what yoga is, what yoga means. And yoga, in its essence, means to yoke, to join the mind, body, and spirit, to join with one another through this practice. In Tantra Yoga, where I studied my 300 hour in Ecuador, I had Iris on the show earlier. It's believed that we're all connected. So through the practice of Tantra Yoga, it's using your senses, connecting to yourself, but also connecting to that energy life force that's all around you, that surrounds you, that's in the earth, that's in those who are around you in your community. And depending on where you are in the world, where you are in the country, the yoga you're practicing could look very different. What you've been taught as yoga might be super different than someone in Australia, which I've been learning is a big Jiva Mukti place to practice. And in my 300-hour training in Ecuador, I met people and teachers from all over the world who practice all of these different lineages. So there's a lot of reason to be confused if you haven't gotten the breadth of introduction to where this is all coming from, what it's stemming from, and what is at the essence, at the core of it all. So when we take a big step back, the Yoga Sutras were introduced 2nd century BC, and this is thought to be some of the founding principles of what modern day yoga is today. And there's 8 limbs within the Yoga Sutras. And those limbs are the yamas, or the behavior in the world we have, the behavior with others. Niyamas, these are personal observances, personal discipline. Then we start diving deeper into the asana, and this is the discipline of the body so that we can get comfortable enough to sit in that meditation. Meditation comes later. That's actually more challenging, according to the sutras, and to my understanding, to my personal practice, and to what I've noticed in my own students. So it's understandable that when you sit and you try to meditate the first time, or the first 10 times, or first 100 times, it's very, very challenging. So that's where this physical practice of yoga came about, to move the body. And asana, even if surfing is a good movement to you, it's something you can release. You could feel good in the body for. You can surf, you could dance. But asana, one common way we see it is through the different styles of yoga that have, since this was introduced, stemmed out through all of these different styles of yoga that have been developed. Next, we move on to pranayama, or the extension of vital energy. And one way we do this in yoga is through breath. So you often will hear yogic breath cued, ujjayi breathing in your class, where you seal the lips and breathe in and out through the nose with a bit of forcefulness, a hugging of the muscles in the back of the throat. Pulling the belly button up and in toward the spine. That's just one method. We have alternate nostril breathing, deep belly breathing, as we do in Tantra yoga. So that's another way that we can concentrate the mind, is through the breath. Pratyahara is next, and this is withdrawal of the senses from their external objects, turning the senses inside. Finally, there are 3 last Yoga Sutras, which are believed to be more internal aids and approaches to yoga. We move on to Dharana, or concentration of the chitta, the mind chatter on something, whether that be a physical object, the third eye center, or an image, something that you can focus on. Dhyana is next, and that becomes more of a steadfast meditation. We stay in that space between the thoughts. We don't have to focus our mind. We can just be. We could be there. We can surrender to the stillness. As Jenna mentioned in her interview earlier in this podcast, it's I will not contribute. You're not contributing in the mind. Physically, you're not fidgeting. You just are. And finally, we reach Samadhi, if ever. This is the final stage, oneness with the object of meditation. There's no distinguishing between the act of meditating, the object of it, its transcendence. So that is the basis for yoga as we know it. And I hope that as we dive in through these different areas, different topics, through different modes of healing, you'll remember these are all just different aspects that we can use to live a more balanced, healthy life. And some things may resonate more with you at this moment, at this time of your life. There certainly are things for me that, I may have learned in my first 200-hour yoga teacher training, and I've read them over and over. And at the time, if it wasn't ringing true for me, or it just wasn't ringing true for me possibly yet. And so this is all great information just to be aware of, to think of, and to remember that it's more than just one thing. It may not be for you, it may be the physical right now, or finally you've made it to a point where you could sit on your meditation pillow. This is a lifelong practice and lifestyle. It can come off the yoga mat You can turn again. Your asana practice could be taking a long run where you are just present for that entire time. You're feeling better in the body. That running is good for you. Your meditation, it starts with 5 minutes, it turns to 10 minutes. As we start moving the physical body more, we could sit longer in that meditation. So all of this really works together as a system. I know my personal self, I found this also helpful, whatever brings you to yoga, if it's that asana, if it's the pranayama, if it's a meditation, something about it rings true for you, go with that. It started with the physical for me, and then all of the other things, the deeper rooted aspects of yoga started popping up like little seeds and new growths through the years and at different times in my life when I needed them. Literally, some of the hardest times in my life where I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought I'd go in a panic attack. When I found out with one of my best friends passed away, I went right to my pranayama, and I hadn't thought pranayama was that important of the practice, an important aspect of the practice for me. But I went into that state of extreme fear and anxiety and upheaval, and the first thing that came to me was breathing and using my breath to calm my mind. So when my mind went in every which direction, I just took a deep breath. I counted the breaths, closed my eyes for 5 seconds, and I exhaled for 5 seconds. And I just continued like that as long as I needed to. And before I knew it, my mind chatter had quieted and I was able to be more calm. That is all I have for you today on the essence of yoga. We're going to dive into these topics more, but I wanted to check in with you to take a step back, start setting the foundation for some of these conversations that we have coming up. And I would love, again, to hear from you. Join me over on Instagram, on Facebook, and let me know other things that you'd like to hear about. This is really for you guys. If there's something that's come up in your yoga class, something you've been curious about learning more, I would love to hear from you. And just to give you an idea of what else I'd love to cover for you, so diving in a little more to the different lineages of yoga, clearing up what is Iyengar, what is Anusara and Vinyasa, Hatha, these different styles that you've seen on the schedule, that you've seen studios popping up. So giving you an idea of what to expect if you're to try those other styles of yoga. Pranayama, so extending our life force through the breath, looking at some different options of breath work and things that we could do at home, including walking you through some of those so you could try them yourself. Moving into the chakras, the energy centers that run through the body. What do those chakras look like? The colors associated, the different body parts, and a chakra clearing meditation that I love to do with my students. So just to look at some of the topics that I will be covering for you as we move forward. Thank you again for listening to the Yoga for Balance podcast. I'm your host, Heather Gjerde. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen and help the Yoga for Balance podcast grow by leaving a star rating and review while you're there. Thank you so much, and until next week.